Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you, as I hope we always do. But before we go another further, before we do anything different, I got to say good morning to my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This is Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Man, look here. You know how we're gonna kick this thing off, man. Tell me what's going on, man. Anything different in the political?
Not really. Just looking at the. Of course, we know we have folks pursuing various issues as it relates to really reaching out and trying to round up all these people that were part of the insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really big in the prosecution of those individuals, and also to get people to understand how important it is that we maintain the democracy because now these people are moving very hard to
Mm-hmm.
install what they would call an autocracy almost. So people have to make sure that they stay connected. If you're not, we talked about it the other day. If you feeling like you hopeless, don't know what's going on, or there ain't no brighter way, get with
Mm-hmm.
an organization that's organized and that has some objectives and a mission to attack a lot of this stuff that's going on. Just
Mm-hmm.
pick something that you're interested in. If you see a wrong that needs to be made right, dedicate yourself to that particular thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like for people, if you're going to be involved with something that's important to you that
Yes.
contributes to change.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's most important is that you get involved with something. Learn how to be an activist, even if you don't use it every day or you don't want to be out here marching or whatever. That's going to help you with a lot of your personal issues as you deal with government. As you deal with
Mm-hmm.
something as simple as your water bill, light bill, uh, maybe you want a pothole fixed in the street, or you see a danger in the neighborhood, or maybe your area needs a stop sign or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who's doing anything or you don't have anyone doing anything about it, that means you should do something about it.
Exactly. Exactly. Be that person.
Right, right. That's what you
Mm-hmm.
should do, and we got to consistently, continually pray for those folks that were a lot of death as it relates to the tornadoes and things. I don't think we mentioned that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people lost a lot of loved ones and things like that, and devastated due to the tornadoes that went through the Midwest or what have you. So definitely keep those people in prayer. We usually
Lord.
don't hear
That's
about that many lives lost at
mm-hmm.
from tornado like this past weekend. So
Man. And it was absolutely terrible, man. I'm keeping my eyes on it, man. And they
mhm,
said it was a couple of states, but I think Kentucky was hit the
Kentucky.
hardest.
hmm
Yeah, man, and I look at the devastation, man. It really reminds me of. I don't know if there's a way to compare it, but when I lived in Columbia, South Carolina, when Hugo came through,
Right.
when Hugo came through, man, and what it did to that Charleston, it did some damage in Columbia, but what it did to that Charleston area was crazy, man. It was crazy,
hmm
and
But
your heart definitely got to go out to the individuals, man. That's impacted by this because they're
but
impacted greatly.
definitely. So if you can contribute to those people that are, trying to get support to them and things
Mhm.
like that, because that amount of loss of life due to the weather here
Exactly.
is usually uncommon right
Mhm.
right now. So
Leonard, with all these things that's going on, and people say it the way they want to say it. We got Badger. I want to go to Badger and when I ask this question, but with everything that's happening right now, it's the human nature. It's nature's taking doing what it do. But could this be a sign, man, from God, the Creator, that He's angry, man? Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. What do you say to that?
well, you can believe that as well, but one is it's not whether it's a sign or not. God is
Mm-hmm.
displeased with wrongdoing, which we were doing long before that tornado, long
Mm-hmm.
before COVID, and that's not hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a constant issue that I believe. But
Mm-hmm.
I think what's more devastating is the fact that people sometimes seem so detached,
Mm-hmm.
where they don't understand because we've been so privileged to have what we have and the conveniences that we have. For someone to
Mm-hmm.
say, what if your water was all destroyed?
Mm-hmm.
Or you didn't have potable drinking water where you were at?
Mm-hmm.
Some people have gone through that for quite a bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, we have to be very careful that we maintain even if you ain't gotta even if you don't love everybody,
Mm-hmm.
love yourself enough, your family enough to want to do what's best for the environment. Something as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. We wonder why our neighborhoods and all these things look the way they look. It's because we don't care. I
Mm-hmm.
remember a part of being an activist, a lot of times we would just go and clean up in communities.
Yeah.
Just have weekend cleanups or
Mm-hmm.
park cleanups, especially if you're still living in areas where they have parks where people are maybe drugs and things like that or whatever. That was one of
Mm-hmm.
the things we would do is clean up, make it look clean first.
Mm-hmm.
Stop throwing trash out. Or if you notice, like I know, say for instance, one of those political things. Do you have a problem with trash being picked up in your area?
Mm-hmm.
I know that was one of the biggest issues with a city is people dumping tires and all these types of things in their communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things that they started to do is say, hey, we need to stuff that we can police, let us do that to make our neighborhood better. You want to notice if you have abandoned buildings where young people are for some reason attracted to and things like that. So there's more than one way to attack a lot of these issues. You got some
Mm-hmm.
people, well, racism, and everybody talk about racism, and what you talking about? Go talk about something else then. There's other
Exactly.
problems besides racism
Yeah.
too.
A
Go
lot. Yeah.
go do that. Go be influential in changing that situation. As long as we all go in the same direction, it'll be fine. But there's always gonna be a fight. I don't know what make you jokers think y'all gonna be just sitting around eating grapes and singing and singing
Kumbaya.
kumbaya. No, that
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen. No.
Exactly. Exactly. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
It's another blessed day, Howard. Glad to see y'all up and about.
Yes, sir.
Good
Yes,
morning.
sir. We're talking about with all these things that's going on, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the all the things, the tsunamis and on the islands and things of that. Is this could it be this be a sign that God, the creator, is angry, Badger?
Mm, it very well could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at the history of the planet, it goes through these cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
I've always wondered if this isn't the first time this was attempted. And Mother Nature got tired of it and, went through a cycle and wiped out. And most of the people got wiped out just to allow the cycle to begin again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because what it is, man, and we got somebody on the phone line. I want to hit that phone line as well, but it's I equate it like when your parents, they tell you do this, do that, do that, and keep telling you to do something, and then it come upon a time where they get frustrated. They say, okay, now look here, now now I gotta heat your little behind up because you ain't listening.
Well,
You
I
got
mean, you've got the nukes that's been put out there,
mm-hmm,
all the mining that's been done, all the metal that's been put in the air for egocentric people,
mm-hmm,
men trying to figure out if they can control the weather.
mm-hmm,
A lot of this is brought upon themselves.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
Why would anyone think that trying to control nature is an intelligent idea?
Mm. Well, they got stories of folks, man. They got stories of folks in the Bible trying to build a tower up to God. They say, well, we so smart, we so intelligent. Let's build a tower. We're gonna build us a tower and go all the way up to God. We're gonna build
And
this
what
tower.
happened?
Exactly. My point exactly. My point
It
exactly.
never works out.
A man in his infinite wisdom is gonna try it though. He gonna
Now,
try.
infinite wisdom, only if creation wants you to have it, and then it wants to see if you're going to be stupid enough to try it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Toussaint, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Right.
Leonard, Leonard, look at what's wrong with your brother, man? What's wrong with your brother this morning? But let's Tucson. What do you say about that, man? Do you think God is angry with all these things that's going on, with all these tornadoes and hurricanes and tsunamis or earthquakes? Do you think God is angry?
No, he remains the same.
Mm-hmm.
He's just. Let me just think this out for free. Just for free.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Ching-ching.
He's not emotional like us.
Mm-hmm.
He's just in control. He's God.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he does what he wants to, regardless of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
He's always just. He's always loving. He's always merciful, compassionate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I say that he don't get angry, but I believe he does. I know he does. But this is not. I don't believe that this is a punishment, because if it was, there are some cities that we may live in or live in the area would be destroyed by now.
Mm-hmm.
He would wipe out TikTok and Facebook.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's shaking their tail, fella. I see women and they don't want to be exploited. And I'm not talking about just women, men too.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got the cootie out. And they just shaking it in the camera.
Mm. Have we lost it? Tucson, have we lost it, man? Have we lost it?
There was no there's no tornado that hit their area while they're shaking their cootie on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just you want to be. I'm gonna be kind of raw today.
Come on.
You know, I'm talking about women. I know you're fine. I know you're sexy, but that's just as disrespectful to your own self.
Mm-hmm.
That you got your private parts and you making sure everybody and your man applauding you.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you is trifling.
Mm.
So if we talk about judgments of God, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because he'll go down there to the White House.
You better say it.
And to Congress.
Uh-huh.
The Senate, and to these crooked judges and police officers and nurses and doctors and the pharmaceuticals and human traffickers and those people that are really causing havoc on people that can't look out for themselves. If it was God, I'm just saying.
Come on, yeah, I'm with you.
We want to dictate what God does when it's disastrous. But he controls the wind if he wants to.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he can calm the wind.
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about somebody that you can make or give a couple of dollars to, and he does your bidding based on your salary. I'm talking about God.
Exactly. Peace be still.
And in the midst of whatever's going on, he can do just the opposite of what you think. Because he don't think like you, and his ways are not like yours.
Come on.
I feel compassionate towards those that are suffering. In this, what is it, Kentucky?
Yes, sir.
For miles and miles and miles. It's just disaster. But sometimes, disaster brings people together.
Yes, it does.
Make them start caring about each other. When you look at a person and the day before the disaster, they wouldn't be paying you no mind. at you and they stick their nose up in the air and they call you stuff that, you know, you can't say but at the dinner table.
Mm.
I'm just saying.
I got you. I got you.
I'm
VP,
just saying.
VP. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Morning, Grove. Morning. This
Hey,
is VP out of Connecticut. Good
yes.
to hear y'all again this morning.
Hey, always good to have you. Good to have you with us, brother. Asking the question, man. Do you think, and what do you say to this, man? With everything that's going on right now, do you think it could be a sign? Do you think it could be a sign that God is angry?
Nah. No, I think it's a. I think you threw me a nice alley you with the town of Babel. I think that's more of a sign that the people start it's collective now. With Babel, they started to build up the stairway only because they collectively understood that they were going for one purpose. And once God and Holy Ghost and Jesus seen that, then they said, you know, let's go down and stop this before they, you know, as one, nothing can be, you know, if they got their minds together, then there's nothing we could do to stop what's coming on, what's about to happen, what's going on. And I'm saying that because until the English went around uniting all these continents the way they are in the new era, because it was done in the Roman era and all that stuff too, but that was all small. That was all in the Mediterranean, in North Horn of Africa. The English went across Africa, Asia, Australia, North America, and South America, uniting nations in one language. And with that one language came trade. And with that trade, we started cutting down trees, and we started cutting down, blocking off waterways. And then we started making transportation. And we learned that there was petrol and gas in the ground. And we started putting those fumes in the air. And when we started putting those fumes in the air, it started changing things. And this is a quick change. And not to say that the earth ain't been geologically changing itself for millions of years. We've had ice ages, and we've had major earthquakes, and we've had supposedly asteroids hit the earth. But right now, this is a man-made disaster. If man doesn't want to acknowledge that they're making a disaster, it's easier to say God's doing it. It's easier to say that God wants to give us a tornado in December in Kentucky. When you've grown up in the South, I grew up in the South 30 plus years. Well, not 30 plus, 20 plus years. And a tornado in the South in December was never going to happen in the 80s and 90s for me. We knew tornado season was a season, like God gives us seasons. We knew tornado season was between when March came, when the April showers came, and the Mayflower started to grow. There was no tornadoes in the winter time. That's an acknowledgement of us changing the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We're changing God's atmosphere. We know, and Badger brought up a good point. It may have been 2 times. Brought up a good point. We no longer look for God for these things. And that's what the people of Babel were doing. They were collectively starting to say, we no longer look for God for anything. And that's what we do in this modern era. We look for the weatherman for the weather.
Yeah.
Our ancestors used to have to look towards whatever the stars told them, whatever God told them was going to come. Now we say the weatherman, hey, what's coming up? Next 7 days is your forecast. We go to the grocery store. We pick out our seeds and what we eat. So we're putting this. God's not doing this. God said, man, God not the man, but he can calm the winds and he can stir the winds. We don't need to be destroyed by tornadoes and earthquakes and volcanoes for us to give his presence. His presence is already there. It acknowledges that we're no longer looking for him is the problem.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Leonard, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, like you said, you know, it is that about man that's various civilizations. In the absence of knowledge, you go to myth. And in the absence of myth, religion will fill in. And that's basically what this notion that we not responsible for a lot of things, I think, is what leads a lot of people to be so disengaged. You know, as I was mentioning before, if you want a clean community, you have to stop littering.
Come on.
You have to clean it up. That's the only way it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
Christians, particularly, need to stop blaming God for man's inability to do it. Be good stewards.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the issue is. You have dominion here. That's why you've been able to do what you've been able to do.
Yes, sir.
And God is going to let you do whatever you want to do until His time is right. It don't have nothing to do with what you got going on.
It's not on your
you've been given so much larger dominion. You can do what you like. That's how you wound up building all these roads and factories and creating economies and infrastructure and all those things, because you desire it as such. That's why you created it. That's what makes you above an animal. So one, I'm all about seeking knowledge all the time. The knowledge and the data and all those things that we've collected shows, like my man said, VP said, we know the impact we've had on the environment. If you, the only people who don't believe it is the people that got their head in the sand anyway, or they just butt ignorant. They're not trying. They can't learn. I mean, I think something wrong with them. They just don't get it. If you present them with what is right, they just automatically choose what is wrong. That's just how they are. Those are the people that we have to deal with, because those are the people in a democracy that also have an input. And because, like I said before, this notion that somehow the majority of people are good people is, I think, a myth.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I hear you all talk as if I know I couldn't have been here when everything was okay. When was everything okay? When?
Well,
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
What Mr. Owen said he want to make America great again.
Well, great for racist white folks. Okay, I understand. Yeah, you might believe. Yeah, I understand why you want it, because you had slaves. You didn't have to do nothing. You treated people like crap, and you did whatever the hell you wanted to do. Yes, yeah, you want to go back to that way. Yeah, I understand that. Well, when was this so great for everybody else? I'm waiting.
Hey, you're gonna be waiting a long time, brother.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't understand what people are longing for. As I'm not, and I work on it to understand it better, because it helps me in communication. But this nostalgia for the past, I can't go back. I don't understand why people would want to go backwards, because that's what you would have to do.
Yeah.
So if you love those times so much that you say were great times, you should be working on that now. You should be working to create those times now. Not sitting around giving up, talking about, man, I remember when. What do you remember? That brief moment. What brief moment do you remember?
You remember when we used to? No, brother. I don't think I remember that. Tucson, let me switch up while staying the same for a second. Tucson, are you with us? Tucson. Wake up and go. Wake up and go to sleep. Tucson, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So I'm coming.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Want to ask you a question. Want to ask you a question, Tucson, and this is something that has been plaguing me for a long time. Why is it? We serve one God. We serve one God. Am I correct when I say that? As a whole,
okay, I'm gonna go with you on that.
Go.
I don't agree, but go ahead.
If that be the case, and we all serve one God, why are we as a church? Why are we so divided? Why does it have to be so separated? Martin Luther King said back in the day, say Sunday morning at 11 o'clock is the most segregated day of the week, because everybody is so separated. Why do we got to be so divided? We all serve one God. There's only but one God, creator, whatever term you want to use for him. But why are we so divided? Why is there such thing as a white church, black church, Hispanic church? Why are there so many different churches that's dividing the people so much?
There's And it's just me. You asked me, so I'm gonna see the problem that has always go here and see if this sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God,
Mm-hmm.
but not according to knowledge. For they have been ignorant of God's righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves to the righteousness of God.
Mm.
Paul talks about something else. He says Christ divided. Some people are of Cephas, some people are of Paul. Are you baptized in the name of Paul or Cephas?
Mm.
I'm just asking. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just asking a question with a question. Because I read the other day that there is this guy, I'm not going to call his name, but he rewrote the Bible and put his name in there. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, he
Mm-hmm.
the heavens and the earth was without form of void, and
Mm-hmm.
darkness was on the face of the deep.
Exactly.
And he said,
Mm-hmm.
let there be light.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Mm.
This celebrity.
Yeah, I know
He
exactly
did
what you're
it.
talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
And it's come to the point where there's pastors and preachers and teachers that has gotten to the point that you find out, you check with the members, who's the big dog in the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Or my pastor, or my pastor. That's the only one they're praying for. That's the only one they're talking about.
Yeah.
And Jesus' name ain't mentioned in the conversation.
Come on now. Come on. Tell the truth.
Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Even them, and I'm not down on, I'm just a wake up call for where we are and where we need to be. Because he said, let your light so shine that men see good works and glorify the Father. Well, why are all these folks getting the glory?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not, so he mentions that he has nothing to boast about. Well, why are these people like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
And I mean, we showing our power and we broadcasting it on before everybody how we are able to touch, heal, set free, and deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just confused.
I'm confused right along
When
with you,
you
brother.
talk about and you talk about the Tower of Babel, it wasn't so much. I'm just thinking that it's me. I just think that they were disobedient because he told them to go and replenish the earth, be
Mm-hmm.
fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. He said, "We're gonna stay right here."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just me, since we being raw this morning, and I am. They say the hell with it. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing today.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's our actions are saying we won't have, just like they told Jesus, we won't have this man rule over us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we rule ourselves. But if the blind leading the blind, look at where we at in the ditch.
Exactly. Let's keep this thing going. Got to keep this thing going. Got a couple of people on the phone line. Want to touch them as well. Next call is Brother Pete. Good morning, Brother Pete. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. DKM Radio, Morning Globe, panel, listening audience. How you all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good. Doing good. We got quite a few people that's on with us right now, so we're gonna turn on our 3 minute theme to keep everybody keep it within 3 minutes for me so I can roll. We got a lot of people. We got 2 or 3 other people on the phone line right now that I have not touched. Y'all be patient. I'm ready to come to you in just 1 second. Pete, I'm asking a question. We haven't got to our topic yet, but I'm asking a question, man. If we serve with one God, why is it so divided? Why is there such thing as a black church, a white church? Like I said earlier, Martin Luther King said at 11 o'clock on Sunday, it's the most segregated time of the week. Why is that the case, Pete?
So we don't serve one God.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Pete.
We serve in all manner of what we believe in and what we hold to be true, near and dear. So We don't serve one God, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's divided because everybody has been given the right by the Creator to pursue their own endeavors. You have self-will. Now, he would prefer that you would take your self-will and submit it unto him in his will or his ways, word, statute, judgments, commandments. But if you want to do whatever you want to do, he's going to let you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let us hear the conclusion of the matter. Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, whether it be good or evil. So just know that we all have an appointment at some point, whether we believe or not, and we gonna have to deal with that. We all gonna get hollered at.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Grand Rising, fellow Earthlings.
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, sir. Earthling, doing good, sir. What do you say about that, man? Why do you think it's so divided? Why there's such a divide in everything in regards to religion, spirituality, how a person wanted to name it?
I think it has to do with trend and culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody can't receive the message the same.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to go and deliver a message or information to people differently before they receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noticed, like, when you go to different churches, like a Baptist church or a Methodist church, I think I seen somebody shout in the Methodist church one time, and everybody looked at them like, "Wait a minute, this ain't what we normally do."
Mm-hmm.
It was odd.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to going to a Baptist church, that was almost a weekly thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the preaching styles were totally different.
Yeah.
You get to the Baptist church and you got to and all that stuff there, and then you get to the Methodist church and it's just message, quote scriptures. So I think people receive it differently. It might be a cultural thing, and then at the same time it might be psychological, because that fire and brimstone might be the only way somebody can get it through their thick skulls what they need to understand. So, you know, also with the fact of what Pete just said, everybody doesn't worship the same God, so they worshiping God the way they think is acceptable.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning? Cassandra, you there? I think Cassandra is fighting that mute button. Leonard, we got a comment here from our public citizen. Want to read that for me?
I agree with Pete. Does anyone really know who God is? Most people just listen to the preacher and assume he knows what he is talking about.
What do you say to that?
No. And first of all, this notion that somehow this propaganda that America is a Christian nation needs to stop. Everybody don't worship God. And most of you Christians don't serve him. You just go to church. That's all you do is you go to church. You may be religious, but you don't serve God.
Come on.
That's an action word.
So when you say religious, a person and I could religiously put their shoes on every morning.
Right.
Could get up out of bed.
You believe the doctrine. But you're not in ministry. Most of you.
Come on.
Because you believe somehow that is separate from what you're supposed to be doing. The preacher is somehow supposed to be doing something different than you. Only thing that he's doing different than you is preaching the word.
Yes.
But you're still supposed to have some type of ministry if you call yourself a Christian. So it's Pete summed it up. I mean, he took the words right out of my mouth. How you serve God has nothing to do with everybody else's opinion of how you doing it. So when people talk about Christian, it's usually talk about Christianity to attack Christianity.
Yeah. Yep.
To point out all these differences in if you don't want to be a part of Christianity, don't. Now go and do good. Go do this great good that you have. You'll find yourself in a situation where if you fail to recognize, or as we are raised to understand, heed the word of the prophet. Take into consideration the guidance that has been provided to you through text, like your Bible, your Quran, and all these types of things. but you must walk in a certain way. Your personal relationship with your Creator. I have no reason. You know, a lot of you act as if everybody else so stupid. No, they're choosing to do what they want to do, and I wouldn't call them stupid at all. They're choosing to do other things. Most of you serve yourselves.
Yep.
You do not serve God. So let's stop this propaganda right now. That you all are somehow lost Christians, backslidden Christians that once believed, or anything of that nature.
What are they, Leonard?
True believers have declared such. And they do those things, and you see them do those things. And when you ask them why they're doing those things, they tell you why they're doing those things. I'm not coming to you asking you no questions about God. For what? When I can ask him. So preachers preach
now,
the word of God. You're still supposed to go find out.
Let me ask you this question, and we got another caller. We're going to go to the caller right now, but and I don't want to point finger or disrespect anybody's spirituality, religion, whatever, however you want to say it. But how do you feel about what you just said? I could go directly to God myself. In the Catholic faith, they go into the booth and they do the confessional.
Yeah. No, so they're going to go to hell. That's the system set up for them. To do what they would like and to absolve themselves of the wicked things that they have done.
Say that.
Led by a demigod himself. They ain't never been right.
Hey, this the morning glow, y'all.
You have been miseducated and you have been led astray. In black churches, you are not in it.
Come on. It's the morning glow. Let's talk.
We were just talking about different churches, and Rico said it. You're supposed to worship God different. He loves to hear a new song. He loves to hear people worship him with all they have, whether it's shouting, dancing, clapping, and constantly giving praise or what have you. He don't have no problem with that. You got a problem with it.
Or that old lady playing that tambourine. Boy, she be playing the tambourine up, boy.
If that ain't your thing, why you over there?
Yeah.
You say, well, why is it so separated? Because of racism. That's why it's separated. You know, it's not no mystery. You have a separate white church and a separate black church. It's because those people that created your church wanted them that way. That's why you got them. Ain't no sense you trying to fit in where you don't fit in.
Exactly.
True believers don't fit in with fakes.
like light and darkness can't go together.
No, it can't. It can't, and that's why they're so upset right now, and they're running. The churches has to re-educate its people right now, and these large white congregations are having a hard time doing that because in order for them to believe that God has to be white, that's a big problem. That's a big dilemma in the church when it comes to racism. It's huge.
Yep.
And I pray for them.
Exactly.
I pray for them because we didn't have, even if God was white, we wouldn't have a problem accepting it.
Yeah.
They got the problem. They don't want to worship with you.
Come on.
Not the other way around.
Good deal. Good. Let's keep this thing rolling, man. We got to keep it within our 3 minutes. Leonard, you on the roll this morning, brother. You definitely on the roll. I'm gonna go to the caller and then Badge, I'm coming to you next. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I don't know. I think that might be me. Toya with the T. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Doing good.
This morning, hunty.
Hey, I told y'all this the morning glow. We going to turn that corner, man. We taking the gloves off, man. In 2022, we ain't putting no gloves on no more. The gloves coming off. Let's talk.
You better say that. Man, Leonard said, "Hey, that them are your stepdaddy. We talking about your real daddy."
You better tell him, Toy.
Talk to him and says, "Why is it so divided?"
That's your real daddy. That's your stepdaddy. You've been abducted.
Come on.
And been told that the parents is something wrong, honey. We talking about the Most High. We talking about everybody's fault. But hey, more for me if you don't believe. I ain't mad at you, honey. More inheritance for me. Where will we be if we all were going in the same direction? Let me tell you something. I thank the Lord for my sins because I'm so dumb. If I ain't had none, I forget about them.
Come on.
So I thank him for my imperfection. Because when I was perfect, I was terrible. Because when I was perfect, I didn't need him. So go ahead and listen to your demigod and see where that gets you. But anyway, take me back to what the topic was, because I'm not sure what the topic was.
No. We hadn't got to our topic yet. And just for the record, our topic is for today is are you Black or African American? That's our topic for the day. But we're gonna get to that.
Oh, I ain't gonna tell me that. But we talking about God right now.
Yeah, we're talking about God right now. We talking about God right now, sis. And I want to know.
Oh, we talking about the one that love all of us, and he don't be picking and choosing because my sin is the same as yours.
Come on,
my back up.
You better come on.
The one that you know how we do. You know how we do when we be more of us. That's my mama. No, that's my dad. No, that's my daddy. That's my daddy.
Come on, tell it.
And then when you do something wrong, you the only one that can do something wrong. But then when I do something wrong, oh, I'm just gonna go burn in hell for not paying a homeless man. But you touching whole little kid. Talking about you gonna go on a boot to another human and say, "Oh, Father, you didn't tell the Father that in that room. You didn't tell the Father that he was touching little boys, and the Father didn't tell the other father he was touching little boys either.
Come on.
But I'm gonna get my head. I'm gonna go to hell for chopping off your Peter whacker. But you think you're gonna get a clear way through the gate because you're being a total hypocrite.
Exactly.
No. You know, I done learned to be faithful. Well, not faithful. I done learned to try to respect God's gangster because I know he loves child molesters too. Don't mean they're not going to hell. I know he loves murderers too. Don't mean they're not going to hell. So I done learned how to kind of understand and respect God's gangster from when I was doing my thing. I ain't never touched no kids now.
Yeah.
And I ain't never murdered nobody. But I've definitely done some things and had some things in my heart. My God called them. He said I need to worry about them spells and incantations that I be passing on to people. When you think deep down your hole in your spirit, how you can't stand them, how you wish something other than good happened, how you wish. Like we was talking about yesterday. Oh, they don't have no good come to them. This, that, honey. I need you to get all the good you want to, because I don't need no CBGB drink on me.
Good day. Hold on right there.
Not meaning.
Hold on right there, sis. We got to stay within our 3 minutes. Don't go nowhere, because I'm definitely coming back to you. Oh man, Cassandra, are you back with us?
Yes, I am.
Cassandra, what's on your heart right now? We're talking about God this morning right now. That's our topic of discussion, and I'm asking the question: why is the church, like Martin Luther King said back in the day? He said on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock is the most segregated time. Why the church so divided? Why they gotta have a black church, white church, orange church, blue church? Why they gotta have all that?
Yeah, I believe that everything is a personal decision. That's why God gave us free will. I don't know. I think it might have been Pete that talked about that. God hopes that we would choose his way and his word and do it the way that he says, but it's not like that. I mean, in all actuality, it's not like that. And I used to try to visit white churches, and I enjoy some of them. You know, it just doesn't fit for me a lot of times, because I look at everything. I just don't listen to the preaching. I look at who do you have in your choirs? Who do you have on your board? You understand? Who are your deacons? All of that plays into who the church really is. And I would go to these large white churches and I would see no black people on their deacon, you know, their deacon thing. I go research them. Why is it like that? If we're all one, why is it that a black man can't be on your deacon board or whatever? So I have an issue with that. That's my issue. I decided to go and visit those churches, so then I get what I get. But I feel like if we would just do it, do God. Don't do you, don't do me, do God.
Yeah.
If we do God, the church would not be as divided as it is, race by race and all this. It doesn't make any sense. There's some people that would not go to Charles Stanley Church because they're sort of upper, you know, they really upper class. He's an amazing teacher, and I listen to his teaching all the time. But when I visited there, because I lived across the street from it, I did not feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I fit in. And a person that loves God, if you're a child of God, you should feel comfortable walking into any church says that they are part of Christianity
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
comfortable.
Exactly. Exactly. Badger coming to you, Rico. You up out the Badger. Badger, what's on your heart?
Man, this is a topic. Well, that's the thing, though. What is a church? What is Christianity?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is something that's always been like, this is something that I always have questions about
Mm-hmm.
because, and like, what's the difference between religion and spirituality? You know, and there was a saying that was shared with me, you know, my karma ran over my dogma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you start just observing and listening, it's wild how the churches are literally, for the most part, going, my God is better than your God.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a competition.
Yeah.
Even though the Bibles are the exact same. Like, they're both using the King James Bible, but they're sitting there, the Baptists are saying that their God's better than the Methodist God, and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't got no logic to it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Oh, you know, and it always fascinated me, and I'm like, well, I guess everyone does have their right to believe in God the way that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope they don't come knocking on my door, because I'm willing to pray the way they pray, but are they willing to pray the way I pray?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. That's good. And we got quite a few people that's actually joining us on the Big Way app right here, man. Definitely appreciate you all being here. Give us a call. The phone number is 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input, and you're more than welcome. Say it again. Oh, I thought I heard somebody. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I know y'all said the conversation is about God.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the elephant in the room is the question you asked. And Leonard answered the question.
Mm-hmm.
It's the American way.
Yeah.
And really just tell me how dysfunctional is it to, I'm going to say, segregate taking people to God.
Mm-hmm.
To accept or even feel comfortable saying, well, you know what? We believe in God and we believe in the heavens and we believe in a judgment day.
Mm-hmm.
But them niggers can't come in here and get this religion. Because that's where it started from, white supremacy.
Yes, sir.
That's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how contradictory is that?
Mm-hmm.
To worship the supreme designer, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega. Listen to his word, preach the word, and then open up them church doors and have a totally different concept of entitlement and privilege. Or not even open up the doors. How about within the doors?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, y'all better not learn to read. You trying to learn to read? Is that a Bible you're reading? That Bible ain't for you, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good Christian white man selling and breeding these slaves like dogs and pit bulls. Look at this stock I got.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to get them to conform so they won't act a fool, let me go ahead and preach them this word and let them know through this fire and brimstone that they should obey their masters. And in the end, heaven will be waiting on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's better on the other side. That benefited them. It was entitlement. It was white supremacy.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer to the question. That's the reason why the churches are divided. And that's the elephant in the room that most people don't want to accept. And that's the reason why some white churches are now reaching across the line to have not sermons, but services with black congregations.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to bridge that gap. You have these instances down here like once every they start off pretty good and then they'll stop. The momentum dies. But every now and then you have a white congregation and a pastor get with a black pastor and they say, we're going to have a brotherhood. And so they go back and forth and they visit each other's churches, not even realizing still how much white supremacy plays a part in it. because you can't find one black church that equates to the 4 biggest white churches. Nowhere, no city in the United States.
Wow. And I want to say thank you, French. I definitely appreciate that. Y'all give me some of them hearts, some of them love, and all the stuff that y'all do over there on that big rap, man. Y'all show me some love. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. Pete, what's on your heart, brother? VP, coming to you next.
It sounds like Jesus saved your dog, black soul, from this horrible, sinful state. He shed his red blood and cleansed it white as snow. Hell is black and dark. Heaven is bright and white.
Oh, goodness.
Lord Jesus. Okay, let's go to VP. VP, what's on your heart, brother? VP, you there?
I was trying to. Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I got you. There you go. Go ahead.
So we're still doing the question off of why the churches seem divided.
Yes.
Okay. Then Rico came in. I thought I was gonna get a turn before Rico came in and bust the door wide open. But that is a major key to why the churches are divided in America. But I think taking it back to the biblical term, lack of knowledge is the reason why the churches are the way they are. I think we have an issue in America in general because our culture grew up, or our grandparents grew up only being told what the word was. And then when they were told what the word was through ancestry knowledge, they passed that same word without knowing that there was any difference. So we grew up with that. So you got some people who want to be Protestant only, some want to be Baptist only, some want to be Methodist only, African AAMs and stuff like that. So I think that the real reason is people don't choose to teach Christ. But Christianity is that's a derogatory term. That's not a term of endearment. That's what they were called. They called the people who followed Christ like the crazy man who was hung. They called him Christians.
Yeah.
We take it now as a word of endearment. It's not a word of endearment. It's actually something that you should be afraid of.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Toya, what to tell you there?
Yes, sir.
We have a comment that came from what you said, and it was 8:24, so it's been about 10 minutes, but I'm going to read the comment, and it's based on what you said. It said, and this is Public Citizen. He says, God does not love murderers or child molesters. No way. You want to comment on that?
Okay, because you can believe what you want to believe. If your child murders someone, you're not going to love them. That's not true. That's not true. You're not going to stop loving your child because of something that they do. And according to the Bible, I thought it says that he loves everybody and forsakes no one. There's nothing you can do. But you can take yourself someplace into hell. You can serve, like somebody said earlier, oh, you don't have to serve my way. Are you going to be, I can serve your way. Are you going to be willing to serve mine? Well, you can be willing to serve the devil. And that's what's going to separate you from God.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Murder may separate you from him, but it don't mean you love him. And I just need to know, if your child commits murder, will you stop loving them? If your child commits child molestation, will you stop loving them? If your child commits rape, will you stop loving them? If your child commits a crime that is punishable by death or by jail sentence for long amounts of years, you're going to stop loving them? No. So again, like Leonard said, the things that I've experienced was things that me and God talked about because I was there too. But look at this, Lord, and look at that, Lord, look at that, honey. But no, it is what it is. He said what he said. As a father, what can your child do for you to not love them? Now, I didn't say save them because you can't keep them out of jail.
Exactly.
But I said love them. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. You have to be open-minded first and foremost, and you don't be scared of religion. Read the book. Read what he say and let him talk to you. If you write a letter to your son, your spirit is gonna move through that letter. Your son could have never seen you. You could have passed away before he got a chance to read it. But when he see that letter, he's gonna feel your spirit. He's gonna know exactly what his father was saying. And when he sees the gift that you left him, it's only gonna make him erupt into tears. So I challenge you, read it. Ask him for yourself. Demand him to show you. And he'll show you he loves everybody, but you're going to take yourself to jail or hell.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We're about to get to our topic, and we at the top of the hour. But Cassandra, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
We're gonna switch up a little bit, and I like how we can throw different things in there before we get to the topic, man. Talk about a range of different things. But let me ask you this question, Cassandra. Why do most people argue? What is the point? Why do most people argue? What do you think it is?
Why do most people argue?
Yes.
I want to be wrong.
That's a major one. In trying to prove a point, sometimes it's about ego. You know, I mean, I argue with people sometimes because I'm passionate about what I believe, just like they're passionate about what they believe. And if the difference of opinion is big enough, then it turns into an argument. I don't mind being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if you can prove me wrong, then I'll apologize and I'll change. You know, you got to prove it though. You just can't tell me. You have to prove it. And then the argument is over, because if you can prove that what you're saying is right, what we're arguing about, what basis do you have against truth? Truth stands all by itself.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be an argument. Yeah.
But
I think it's about egos. I think it's about wanting to be right, you know. Okay.
But see, my thing is this right here, and I'm gonna pass this question around before we get to our topic. We're gonna transition over to our topic. But my thing is, every argument starts with a conversation. And if you have a conversation, there's a sender and a receiver. That's how the conversation goes. But when it gets to the point where it becomes heated and it becomes an argument, you know, you're more or less trying to prove your point. You're not really listening to what anybody is trying to say. And so I think the rational reason is thrown out the window at that particular time, because now you're in an argument. It's no longer a conversation. Now it's an argument. Am I right in that?
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I still say that people end up arguing sometimes because they're passionate about what they believe. It's some people that you cannot tell them that Trump was not the best president that's ever been in this country. I don't care what you say. There is nothing you can say right now. There are millions upon millions of people that will tell you he is the best president that we've ever had and that he needs to be back in office. Somebody that, like me, looking at it, is going like, hell to the no. He never needs to be sorry. He never needs to be back in office. So that right there would spark an argument that you can say nobody would win, because those people are not going to change their minds no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. Rico, why do most people argue?
I don't
Pretty much to prove their point. They like to be right. And one person doesn't like to be right, and they ain't gonna stop arguing until they see that they're wrong. And that happens because, you know, we get confused sometimes. I do that. I'm passionate. I'm just like Cassandra. I'm passionate, and sometimes, you know, I get some things mixed up. Like I was arguing with this guy the other day about University of Alabama receivers and the numbers he was throwing out, and I shouldn't have been arguing with him because he used to be a statistical analyst at ESPN. He got image for doing this. So he's like, this is his addiction. This is his crack, memorizing sports statistics.
Yeah.
Up and down the decades. It don't matter what sport or what year it was. He get a kick out of learning this type of stuff. And we was talking about the receivers. And I said, well, you know what? I'll pull it up on Google and show you. I put it up on Google. He was right. I had the years mixed up. You know what I'm saying? But see, the thing is, what's great about me, is I do not have a problem saying, you know what, you were right, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I made
Yeah,
a mistake.
yeah.
And letting them know why I made that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
See, some people hate to admit
Yeah.
they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
they might come back and argue back with you, or they might just storm off
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
once they find out they're wrong. So that's how it goes, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying, with human beings, most times they're gonna argue because they just want to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're right.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't that they just want to be right, but they really do assume that they are right. So most times that's the reason why it gets heated like that. Because
Mm-hmm.
once the truth comes out, why should there be an argument?
It should stop right there. That should be the end of it. But that's not always the case. Badger, what do you say to that, man? Why do most people argue? We got another caller. We're gonna come to you in just 1 second.
Because most of the time they just get this idea or concept in their mind, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's one of the things that I work really hard in. You know, for one, I personally love to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So and I work really hard to be open and to talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always, wondered and was curious on why people will stand at the opposite ends. And the funny thing is when there's a lot of situations where if you really listen to what each side is talking about, they can be talking about the exact same thing using different words, and they're sitting there arguing
Mm-hmm.
and have the same point of views.
Yep. Agreeing with each other, not even knowing it.
Yeah, all because of word usage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's good. That's good. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good. Good morning. How you doing this morning? That's my baby girl, y'all. This is Miri.
Wow. How are you?
I am doing well. I need to ask you a question. Why do most people argue?
Why do what now?
Why do most people argue?
I think either they're not understanding each other, or they don't understand each other enough to see the other person's views, not to argue about something, or they believe that their understanding is the right way of going about it.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of compromising, they rather argue until somebody wins.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? Why do you think most people argue? Most people.
Because they believe that they have a point of view that is right. And when confronted, an argument occurs, usually if the other person is willing to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
And people do argue. I mean, it's not a big deal, but
Mm-hmm.
things are argued. Things must be argued to bring clarity sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the legal system is based on the argument that is presented.
But sometimes an argument could go out of control, whereas it could equal somebody's death. You know, they could take it just that far in the course of that argument.
Well, that's all war is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all anything it really is when it leads to people fighting and things like that. That's why I don't engage in heated conversations where people can't control themselves. I rarely care for people to raise their voice at me.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I'm gonna go into straight attack mode if you raise your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just the type of person that you're dealing with. We see people who can't control themselves wind up on the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you have people who are not as intelligent as they believe, who resort to violence, or they got anger management issues. The result is usually violence.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what begets violence.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a practice of what do they call the practice of anti-violence, you work on those things that lead up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't, when people to get out of control, hold on, bring it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Or something of that nature. Or you just table the conversation till a person can get in charge of their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, because you know what it leads to. It leads to violence.
Yeah. And it doesn't take long.
And it don't take long at all. And people have to practice these things in order to stop winding up in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit a lot of people. but I don't.
Yeah.
Because I control myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's the key to that whole argument thing. You can argue, and a lot of people say it's just a debate. No, a debate means that everybody's bringing some knowledge to the table. So everybody's
Mm-hmm.
aware of what is going to be discussed. They understand the debate has parameters and things like that to keep people on topic and that things of that nature. But an
Mm-hmm.
argument is just you going for what you know and what you think is right.
Exactly. Pulling no punches.
Yeah.
Let me go to what Toy you with a T. Why don't most people argue?
I don't fight. I don't argue. I just
I just
beat
hit
that
that with a
football.
ball.
Lord Jesus. Lord.
Yeah, no, listen. See, that's my thing, right? Like, another thing about humans, and this is what God taught me. You don't have to go back and forth with nobody about what they believe because that's what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't argue. I've always been a certain kind of leader where I tell you something and I know what I know, and you go back and forth. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. Emotions can't get there. Once I started getting like 17, 18, especially about religion, religion is the main one that gets you killed. And that's how you know that's the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Because how I have a conversation about God, what make you want to murder somebody? That's the devil, and you have no idea that he's in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but after I got about 16, 17, arguing with people and get to a fight, I learned then, okay, I cannot argue.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot argue. Because when people disrespect me, I go crazy. I turn green. I bust out my clothes, and I be busting through doors and windows and stuff. And in order to keep the peace, I know to eliminate the situation. When you start getting hyped, I'm like, okay, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep on talking to me after that. No, you got it. I think you got it. No, but Toya, don't just get. No, listen, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I told you got it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be going back and forth with no issues with you. I'm not going to be getting my dandruff up. So that's why I've only had a limited amount of fights in my life. And most of them have been with men. Because I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and let you have that. And if you want to own me, I'm going to let you have that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't argue. I'm going to beat you with the bottle or back.
Lord, my Jesus. VP, why do most people argue?
I'm sitting here trying to see everybody taking them all. I'm just going to come with something totally different. How many people are digging in the sand? How many people have been wronged, turned the other cheek, and got wronged again? How many people have forgiven 70 times 70? That's why people argue. That's why we arguing about what religion is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people argue because they have an ego. They edge God out.
Mm-hmm.
And they put themselves in place.
Come on.
So as long as you feel like you're right, as everybody is eloquently placed, as long as you feel like you're right, there's no place for God to be right. And that's why people argue. Even though there might be, like we know Trump was the greatest president of all time, and we know there's people out there that can't argue about that. And we know God puts you in places like Leonard and you and Cassandra, only because I know y'all's profession, where you can't be in there arguing with people and still talk about God and then think these people are going to want to follow God. It's not a change in the matter. Some things just ain't worth arguing about, but some people have to be right. And that's all that is.
Cassandra? Cassandra, you there?
Yes.
What's on your heart, sis?
No, I don't know. I hate arguing. I really do. But there's some things I'm just not gonna let slide. And I don't know I'm just not. If somebody is saying something crazy and wrong and misleading, I'm gonna say something. And if it makes an argument happen, that's fine. At least people can listen and go do their own research to get the answers. But I just can't let something slide, and we shouldn't. as a Christian woman of God, I am not. If somebody says something that I know is scripturally not sound on DK, I'm gonna call them on it. I don't care, because what we put out, we're responsible for. What I hear on here that has to do with the word of God, I'm responsible to say something and not let it just go over the air and people believing that it's true. So, that's just my position. I don't want to argue with nobody about it, but if you say something that I know the word of God does not say, I'm going to call you on it.
That's good. That's good. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
It's strange that, people would argue about something like that when it talks to Christianity, but that is why I say you've been miseducated, because you have been taught this way. You don't have to argue with nobody about what you believe unless you're trying to convert them. This is the problem with the church. And they did many horrible things on this whole notion. Because I serve this God, I'm going to go and I'm going to take over everybody else and make them believe in this God. I don't care what nobody say. Can't nobody make you believe nothing.
Yeah.
That's why when people get to talking about the blacks and Christianity or whatever, you can lie to people all day. They ain't got to know what's going on in your head unless you tell them everything you know. That's your business. So when I talk a lot of times that people get offended, it's mostly going to be because you weak in a certain area. Now, I know a lot of y'all you're going to have to, what they call it, y'all going to have to get naked to understand it. And you're going to have to drop all of what you've been taught and how you've been taught it. Because you're worse of you're doing the best you actually can because you don't know no better. But if you just do what Pete mentioned, you'll be fine. But this having to fit in with this or that, but that's what's leading people astray. How about you just go and do good? How about you just do that?
Try it.
But you don't have a problem with that. So it's not about what Public Citizen is believing or anything like that. It's what I believe. That's mine. You can't have that. So, and I think I remember I was reading where someone said it's something you got to keep for Maya Angelou. They mentioned this. There's some things you keep for yourself.
Yeah.
So you got to have a self, and you got to deal with that self. That's yours. Don't let nobody go there. And this is what happened to a lot of people when you let people tell you something and you just go, "Oh, I love you." Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Why? Like,
really?
why?
Think about it, women. Man, I love you, but I can't come see you. I can't be on time. I got to hide this from you. I got to do this. Man, come on. Come on. Nobody can tell you anything.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Toussaint. Why do most people argue?
Look, I was finna say before Cassandra said what she said. I was finna say because you got two fools and one won't leave the other one alone.
Lord,
there you go, right there.
I mean,
so basically, what I'm hearing you say is, if two people are there arguing, you basically have two fools, because even if one was intelligent, you can't tell the difference.
Well, you have 2 point of views that's clashing, and perception is truth until you prove it wrong. I'm just saying. Just take, for instance, across the board. Since we talked about spirituality, religion, godliness, righteousness, maybe the same thing, but then you got two people arguing about who's right. And so because I'm Church of God in Christ, or Muslim, or Baptist, or Catholic, or Christian, or spiritual, because we don't understand that God ain't in a box, then we start fussing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Instead of just settling with the fact that if you're not against me, you must be for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I
Exactly.
love this guy called Louis Farrakhan.
Mm-hmm.
That is my brother.
Yes, sir.
Now, what the world are you talking about? That's my brother, and you Christian, and he Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and you black, and you talk about you Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and that's for white folks.
Mm-hmm.
What argument is that?
Mm.
I mean, that's somebody coming in with their point of view, and they think they're right. I don't talk to them. I don't have that conversation with them because then I become the fool. Because I just stay within my realm, and sometimes I figure that I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I mean, but if I sit, I was in a conversation with somebody, and they start talking about the fact that their friend saw my car at the hospital while I was at work. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
told them?
What's that?
You having a good conversation by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's Lord. Let me go to Friday. Good morning, Friday. How you doing this morning?
How you doing, everybody? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good, doing good. Asking a question. Friday, why do most people argue?
Most people argue because the individual that they really want to express themselves to aren't listening. So then they argue with everybody else just to make sure that they can be heard.
That's a different approach on it right there. So they argue to be heard.
They argue to be heard because who they really want to express to is not being, they don't feel as though they're being heard by them. So then they're ready to make sure that they're heard for validation.
Okay. Okay. Cassandra, what do you say to that? Cassandra, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I guess you're talking to me. This is Kurt, man.
Kurt, what's going on?
City.
Kurt, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm good. On my way to work.
Good dear. Kurt, I'm asking a question, man. Why do most people argue? What do you think the reason is why most people argue?
Because don't nobody listen. You know, when you play it back in your mind, right? And if you play back in your mind what you was arguing about, right? You'll find that somewhere something got lost in translation. You know, that could be somebody took something the wrong way, understood something the wrong way, or just really didn't hear what you were saying. A lot of times you wind up having an argument, and what I realize is probably, I mean, to me, it's probably sometimes white because we could be having an argument or a disagreement, however you want to word it, and I'll start laughing in the middle of the argument. And the reason why I'm laughing is because, oh Lord, we argue, but we said the same thing. Like, like, do you not realize we said the same thing? Like, you know, and then you just got some people who, as much as I hate to say it, you got some people who just, they just like to argue. Like, you know, scientifically they say that an argument releases a certain amount of adrenaline or endorphins in the brain. So the person is in anger management. The person is reaching for that because they want to release that adrenaline, or they want that adrenaline boost. I don't know how crystal clear that science is, or I mean, it's been recorded by reputable scientists, human behavior scientists and stuff like that, psychologists and things of that nature. But most of the time, man, it's because people not listening to each other. Everybody feel like they gotta say what they gotta say, but they don't listen.
Okay. What Rico, in the course of arguing, we're gonna stay here just for another minute. Then we're gonna go to our topic of the day. In the course of arguing, and we're talking about because people are not listening. But if you're arguing, are you yourself? Are you listening?
There's a good possibility you're not. And to be honest, in most cases, I ain't gonna say in most cases, in many cases, that is the situation. And okay, the biggest thing about an argument, first off, an argument is unnecessary depending on what the loss is or whatever the what's at stake. Like say for instance, you might be fighting for your freedom. You got to argue your innocence to a court of law or something like that. Now that's justified. But there are a lot of times that an argument is unnecessary because you can easily go and find the facts. You can go to the source. And see, I'm one of those type people that, before I argue back and forth, a lot of times I'm like, well, look, let me prove it to you. And people get mad. There you go. You're trying to prove something. You always got to be right. I'm like, well, I would rather spread the right information than the wrong information. So sooner or later, after a while, you start finding out that you have some people that they don't even want to agree because they just want to hear that cosign and that cheerleader say, you right.
Yep.
Sure is. They need that confirmation, that satisfaction, and that gratification of being a victor. I won. I was right. They was wrong. No, they were saying the same thing you were saying, but you kept arguing because you wanted everybody to say, you right. That does something for you. It's like crack to some people. It's like a dope to some people to get that acceptance and that recognition for being right. So they don't listen to anybody. They just want to make sure they get their point across. Then you have those that really get tired of you being right all the time, and they have animosity against you. So they like to start an argument because they're looking for a reason to take it to the next level. Because what happens in an argument sometimes is somebody might get disrespectful. They might get a little loud. They might get a little fake in your face. They might call you stupid. They might call you a dumb B.A. nigga. Because they get worked up, they get passionate. See, some people like to say, well, I get passionate in the argument. So in the process of you getting passionate, you're going to get loud and disrespectful and try to get aggressive. When really and truly, all we got to do is go and pull it up on the internet. All we got to do is go call the source and solve this situation because this argument is going too far. Or maybe you should just listen a little bit because I'm saying the same thing you saying, brother. I'm saying the same thing you saying, sister. It ain't always got to be men against women, women against men.
Exactly.
But somebody already have their sides that they have taken, their allegiances. Feminists, sometimes feminists can't even hear when men agree with them.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
Because you're a man.
You can't know what you're talking
about. So that's human nature. You get what I'm saying? Once we know what we want and we have our favors and our things that we crave, the things that we have allegiances to, then after a while, we start arguing on that behalf. And I know I'm about to go over 3 minutes, but this just happened last night. I was telling somebody that I saw in China, that sometimes you have to be aware of the propaganda, of possible propaganda, because, we have certain things that we hear about China. Sometimes it sounds bad, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, we have an Olympics and NBA games, and we might put a team over there sounding like China on the progressive side. And all of a sudden, they're bad again. And I saw that they were trying to limit, the government wanted to control and limit how much access children had to video game play. I didn't see anything wrong with that because, a lot of times you got adults that are going to these gaming cafes and standing there 36 hours and then dying from brain seizures, different things happening. Too much overabundance of these video games. So China wanted to put a lock on it. And somebody said, well, you're going against, you're playing with control. the parents should be responsible for that. I say, yeah, but you got to understand that some parents ain't responsible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those children gonna get fed everything negative. So somebody got to step in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you gonna do when they start overstepping the boundaries? Then that's when you fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
fight then. That's when you argue. You argue your point of view and say, okay, I agree with y'all saying that we only need 3 hours a day or 3 hours a week during the school week of video game play.
Mm-hmm.
But now you ain't fixing to tell me that I gotta go get my child circumcised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, on this topic, dude, it's just I pretty much agree with pretty much over the board, over in general, what most people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lady that spoke earlier, though. I smiled real big with her, and I think that is a lot of times a lot of the source of the arguments is they don't get validation.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good
So,
deal.
you know, and you can see it in kids too. You know, they'll argue until you validate.
Mm-hmm. You right. You right. And that should end it. You right. Even though sometimes sometimes you just got to say that, man, whether they right or not. Just, you know, ain't because I don't like to argue anyway. I just don't like to argue. I'm just not that guy.
Look, what's wrong with just saying, you know, I understand where you're coming from. I don't agree. So let's just agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Before it gets so out of hand that there's no point.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. VP, what's on your heart, brother? Then after you, we're ready to go to our topic for the day. What's on your heart, brother?
Don't forget about me.
Okay. Good deal. VP, what's on your heart?
I would say, even going back to Friday's point, it brought up, I think just that she came on to the phone, so it made me realize that
you got some feedback coming from your line now, VP.
Yeah, it made me realize that, and I think it was it Leonard that came on right after that? That fools argue with each other?
No, on Tucson.
No, Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me go back to when I was thinking about when we used to argue all the time about when we really was arguing on Facebook about political parties, and I thought I was on one side or the other side, how much of a fool I was for helping that get lifted in the air. I think sometimes what happens is, just like Friday brought up, when people are arguing and they're not getting what they want, they get other people to argue for them even louder.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is we say, even because I've learned to dig in the sand, even with my wife, I done learn now, if I feel like I'm casting stones, that means I'm guilty. So I'll dig in the sand until it gets calm enough, and then we can really talk about what the matter is.
Mm-hmm.
The thing for me is, when you get to a point where you feel like you have to argue with somebody, that means they finally taking you out your comfort zone, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's better to step back,
mm-hmm.
because they'll eventually, what people who like to argue want to make a fool out of you.
Oh yeah.
So you'll get to a point where the anger, you no longer have the knowledge for, like Leonard brought up with a debate where it's knowledge brought into it, but now it's just dumb conspiracies or your own ideology thrown in there, and the truth is lost.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
I think when people want to argue, it's because they don't want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Toya with a T, I think you had some for us.
Yeah, because I was pondering something as y'all was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, I used to say, if it's not an argument, if you just be quiet. But, okay, in the court of law, lawyers have to argue each side.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of like the process of humanity. You know, if one person, it's a negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Negotiation is only arguing at a composed level. Like when we say argument, we think big and loud. And why? It doesn't have to be. It's each individual that, again, just like with cheating, don't have self-control.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have self-control to sit down and have a conversation with another person that's different or has a different view other than what you have. And it's blow it out of proportion to even the meaning of something that's the word argument.
Mm-hmm.
We automatically think we're bad connected when lawyers do the same thing. It's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that I see you differently than you. You can tell me, it's not beating that boy with the back. You can tell me that when I have a conversation with you about my whatever I got going on, you feel, oh, you think you a man. Oh, you a strong woman. Oh, you need to just give me your check. And it started arguments. And baby, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm gonna leave it alone and whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But it's simply, it's not a negotiation tactic. It's still a conversation on a point of view different than yours.
Exactly. We got Annie with us, and I think you need to turn your volume down just a little bit. I think we get a little feedback from you. If you can turn your volume down a little bit. And I want to ask you the question why you do that. Annie, why do most people argue? Before you do that, tell everybody who you are, where you calling from.
I'm Annie from Mississippi.
Good deal. Why do most people argue?
You mean couples or boyfriend, girlfriend?
People in general. Why do they argue?
I mean, go to somebody else. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, not only did she say, I don't know, she got the look on her. I don't know. Okay. She's about that.
I mean, there are many reasons people argue. I mean, what are you talking about? In a married setting, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a sister, brother? What setting are you talking about?
No, I'm just for the sake of what you're saying right now. Let's say husband and wife. Why do they argue?
Most of the time, husband is cheating or lying about something, or either financial. I said it, or maybe money, because money is the main reason many couples fight. I believe finances, and then the next reason is going to be the husband that's always messing up.
Leonard.
Whatever.
Only the husband.
Only the husband.
Leonard. Why?
Just
how this transition to the men are always messing up. Now, Leonard, I'm putting you in.
That's Miss Annie. Good morning, Miss Annie. She gonna bring it like that. She gonna bring it like that because that's why some people argue. But you know what? People with enough money don't argue about it. They argue about other things.
You heard that?
Whatever you can argue about whatever you want to argue about.
That's what I'm talking about. A lot of time. I'm sorry. Go on.
You can argue about you didn't cook my bacon crispy enough. Yeah, see, y'all don't want to talk about that. Anyway, let's go to.
I'll tell you something funny. I couldn't imagine arguing with Friday.
Wow.
I couldn't. Because one, I would be listening to her voice more so than her point of view. Because she's usually seen. Now I know VP probably see the other side. It can't always be grins and smiles and pleasantness. But then again, they from there. I know a lot of people from where they're from. They have a certain demeanor. They're just very calm, usually cool and collected. A lot of them, it's like they're from a different planet sometimes.
BPC,
they can be pleasant. I believe Miss Friday can be pleasant, nasty with you if she wanted to. I believe she could be
a little nice,
cut you out just like that if she chose to. But that doesn't seem like I believe she would question you. Just like with me and VP, I'm listening to VP, and like say for instance, me and my wife, we don't really argue at all. Because one, I'm gonna always submit, believe it or not. Let's do it your way. Let's try it your way then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just that easygoing about it. There's nothing I just have to have. I'll wait you out. I'll let you get whatever it is out your system. We can try it your way and everything. And see how it works.
When the bottom fall out, there's another conversation.
No, I'll just fix it. Because I'm not interested in arguing about it.
Good deal. Let me go to let me see. That's right, the actual name. Okay. To question. Say the name means VP said the name means okay. Let me get to the topic of the day. Let me put this thing up here and we're gonna talk about this thing, and this is gonna be very interesting. Um Cassandra. Cassandra, you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
We're gonna start this topic off with you, Cassandra, and I'm gonna get a blank slate so we can go from the top. From the top, let me do this. Cassandra, we have been called a lot of different names over the centuries. African American, Black, Negro, the N word. We've been called all kind of things. And I'm asking a question today of you and everybody that's here. Are you Black or African American? Which one are you?
I honestly, I don't care which one you call me. I don't have a preference of what I just want to be treated fairly and justly. I don't care what if you will call me Black, fine. If you will call me African, I don't care. Whatever you call me, just show me equality and justice, and I'm good. We can flow with any name you throw in except a nigger. You don't call me a nigger, so we don't have an issue. I know, it's the word. It's the word to choose. Wow. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not. I think we spend too much time thinking, talking about stuff like that, when the real issue is whether you're a Black man or an African American man in the United States, are you being treated fairly and justly? That's it.
That's good. That's good. VP, are you Black or African American?
Who's talking to me?
VP? That's a good question.
That's where it's gonna come from. I know a lot of my people that I associate as Caucasian, they like the term African American. If I'm within the culture, then it's usually Black. I myself, although it sounds cliche, I just identify as American. You'll hear me say Black if I'm identifying somebody. I don't say I don't say that African American unless you're actually African and you're now American, which is, I guess, a weird. Maybe I'm one of the weirdos that's gonna be a part of this panel, but I just say I'm American, and if I'm identifying somebody, then I'll say Black. And I don't even on the census I'll put unknown, because it's almost one of them things where I'm starting to learn it's a separation that's needed in this environment to keep us where we are.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let me see. Curtis, are you with us? Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, bro. I'm listening.
Are you Black or African American?
Well, because I know, I can't deny. So I'm African American. I hate the term, though. I can't stand the term.
Why not?
Because it annotates that there's a separation between me. Well, if I'm African American, why? Okay, so why is it that our counterpart have to introduce himself as Caucasian American? What gives him the right to introduce himself as an American? If you think culturally, what gives him the right to introduce himself as an American, but then introduce me as an African American? Why is he introduced as a European American? I identify as an African American because I know my family's history. I know exactly where we came from, how it happened, what happened, the whole nine. I was blessed. God blessed me in 1992 to go to a family reunion where they had the great grandson of a man by the name of Master Jackson, who actually owned my family, and he knew the whole story, and he set us all down at the meet and greet and told us the story of our complete inception, where we came from, who started us, how it happened, what happened. He gave us the complete story. So I can say that I'm an African American because I know where my African roots are, where they come from, what the travel was, where they went first.
So I can call myself, I feel like I can call myself an African American, but I hate the terminology. When I was in Germany, it really hit me real hard because I had, I have Caucasian American friends, just like I have African American friends, just like I have Caribbean American friends. I have a multitude of friends, and I'll never forget, we was out somewhere and we was meeting people, and I noticed that some of my Caucasian counterparts was like, I'm an American, right? But me, on the other hand, he's an African American.
Good deal.
So it like had a sound like I was less than. You know what I mean? So, but I know my roots, so I connect myself to what my roots are.
Okay. Leonard, I got a very weird question. Annie, I'm coming to you next. I got a very weird. Before I do that, let me I'll read this for me, Leonard.
African American is too many syllables. Black is easier to say. Hopefully in the future, we won't even need to make that distinction. I see Kurt's point of view. If you are classified as non-white, then you are automatically racialized. Most people classified as white don't understand what being racialized means.
You want to comment to that?
In context, it makes sense.
You
know, if people talk about, are you this, as we discussed before, guess what? I'm a father. I'm somebody's brother. I'm somebody's husband. So I'm different, when it comes to that. Now, if you want to talk about existence, I will definitely look you in your face and tell you I am. I am, period. There's no further discussion necessary. However, when you put it into context, I am the descendant of an African slave here in America. Black is a context, because truly you're not black.
Yeah.
But it's a context. It's a construct of people, the social construct. And a lot of people, if they looked at the history of it, it makes, when people separate this or separate that, that's pretty clear. So even the most ignorant of white men could understand. So you would use something as simple as black and white. Because that takes very little intelligence.
Yeah, Leonard, let me ask you a question. And this, I said I had a very weird question, and this is what it is. If I had an African brother that came to America and got citizenship here in America, but he just happened to be Caucasian, would he be African American?
Yes, because one, you're talking about someone's nationality. Usually, nationality is attributed to the place you're born. That's why we have certain rules that govern when children are born, and to people in the military that are living abroad. If they're born on base, they're American.
Yeah.
If they were born outside somewhere else and living somewhere else abroad, that's where they would be from. They could be a citizen of that country if they had birthright citizenship there. You have birthright citizenship here in America, which is the term anchor baby. That's how you become American. You be born here.
Yeah.
It's called birthright citizenship, which one of your former presidents tried to get rid of that as well. Because he no longer wanted birthright citizenship, and that was a way to deal with his quote, this scourge of Mexicans coming here just having babies, just to be here. So nationality, ethnicity, and those things in race are different. So I don't care. You can call me for whatever you would like. That don't mean it's true, but I understand in context what it's for.
Exactly. Let me go to Annie. Annie, what do you say to that? Are you black or African American?
I feel the same way Cassandra felt. I mean, it really doesn't really matter to me how you label me, as long as you don't call me a certain word. But here's my question to you. Why is it that when we fill an application out or even go to the doctor, Why is it on there? Why does it matter? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what race you are when you're going for a job or when you're going to, you know, for medical help. Why does it matter? I never understood that, the whole concept of that.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. But you know, like I say, America being America, that's where we are. Rico, what are you, brother? Are you black or African American?
I have to go to work now.
Well,
Okay. Appreciate you, Andy.
I'm a melanated human being,
Mm-hmm.
but based on the fact that I know everybody has conformed to this system of classification in these categories, I know what place in general I'm considered to be in.
Mm-hmm.
But I always prefer, you know, the black and white thing, because when you fill out an application or whatever, you will see, are you an American citizen?
Mm-hmm.
That included everybody that was an American citizen. Then they asked, which one are you? Hispanic, white, black, Native American? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was cool with that. But now when you hear African American, just think about that. You go somewhere like Curtis said, I'm an American.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come back, you say, well, yeah, I'm an American too. They say, well, yeah, but he's an African American. And that means, you know, he's American, but
Mm-hmm.
you see, that sort of, to me, that sort of took it to another level of separation compared to you just saying which race of American you were.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, you're an American, but you're one of them Africans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why is that separation even necessary? Why is are you one of the Irish Americans?
Mm-hmm.
Are you one of the British Americans? So you know, when you think about it, you asked a question a second ago that made a lot of sense. If a white person was born in South Africa, came to America, he would be an African American.
Exactly.
Spelled with a K. It's
Mm-hmm.
different with the way they spell it Afrikaans. You know, they want to make a difference, but at the same time, it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at that being the criteria, so whoever came in my past from Africa, I don't even know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I know good and well I didn't come from Africa. I was born at Regional Medical Center in Anderson, Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Lord Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? So I should just be an American.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people conform.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what makes me still sort of be a sort of against the grain to the extent that I am,
Mm-hmm.
because for some reason it's hard for me to not understand and see stuff like that from the very beginning, and then not want to conform, and then you see everybody else just fall in line. They try to make sense out of it, based off the person that came up with it making sense off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of sense does it make for any black person in America or any melanated person in America to call themselves African American when they weren't born in Africa?
Yeah.
So, you know, we took that substandard of being American. Yeah, they're American, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're American, but they're black.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you know the history behind that but,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that, well, they think they're American and they think they're going to get the American dream, but they only going to get the African version of it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Now let me watch this. Badger, are you black or African American?
I was trying not to laugh the whole time.
I was like, how am I gonna do this right here? Okay.
God, neither.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am Cherokee, Scottish, and Irish.
Mm-hmm.
And to be quite honest, don't call me any of those. Ask me what my name is.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I'm curious, I'm going to go, well, what's your heritage? What's your history? Because I ain't interested in the way you look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more interested in how you live your life.
Exactly.
You know, and that's one thing, labels. All these labels drive me crazy. My sister called me yesterday. So this topic is kind of funny. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this guy. And he's helping my sister by fixing her car because the brake lights went out. I live 6 hours from her, so I can't just drive there and fix lights. So, and we're sitting there talking and stuff, and we started getting into this in-depth conversation and things like that. And I'm like, hey, what's your heritage? And he paused. And I'm like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I done said something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then after his pause, he says, I don't know. He says, I
Mm-hmm.
know I have some Indian in me, and I've got some African in me, and I think I've got some Irish in me, and then, or some Mexican in me, and then some more African in me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, cool. You're a mixed blood like I am. That works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and here's the thing, though, and I have to work really hard not to get too passionate about this, especially when you are talking about those check marks, right? On those applications and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can mark that I'm Native American, but because I don't have this government issued card to say that I am,
Mm-hmm.
they cannot accept me as Native American.
Mm-hmm.
They have to change it to white. So I don't know if the word envy is proper in this situation, but sometimes wish I'm able to mark off black or African American or
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic or any of the other ones, because here's a part of my culture and my history and my bloodline that I can't say or put on documents because I don't have a card saying I am.
Mm.
So this is a passionate subject for me. And
Yeah.
when this happened, I started going, you know what? I would rather learn a person's name than call them anything that's racial.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. We got a thing here. Leonard, you want to read this before we go to someone else?
Being able to racialize other people is part of white privilege. In my mind, it's pretty darn disrespectful to racialize people. I am only 3% sub-Saharan African, so I don't identify as either of those, but I do relate to the phrase multiracial.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And you wanted to comment, Leonard?
Let's get one thing clear. The reason to separate and label things is to study them. That's why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would like to believe that you all are the same, but you're not. All of us are mammals, aren't we? We don't walk around calling each other mammals, do we?
Mm-hmm.
So classification is necessary for the study of things. The reason why you have these other classifications here is because you have to add things to it, like racism. This classification was necessary because someone was studying and observing for a particular purpose and a particular strategy. So that's why they classify you a certain way, because they have a plan. They have a strategy. It does not matter to white people that you're Irish or any of those white skin ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter to them, because they're believing assimilation. And if you have a white face, that's why they don't put Irish and German and all of that down. Because the strategy is to discriminate against those who are not white.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to go about, if we're going to fix it, we have to have a system in place that combats that original strategy. So if I want to create a program to help African Americans to the exclusions of others, I have to write the program as such.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the criteria which makes you eligible for the program. Like if you're a low income person, the criteria is that you be low income. So the need for this classification is for a particular reason and how it came about. You know, we have a huge classification system, and the structure is taxonomy. And there's different ways to classify different things that makes it easier to study.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's necessary to do things that way. It's to study something. So if you remember that, then you always know that you're being studied.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Leonard, but I got to add this part in real quick. Among growing up, if you let someone know that you were Irish or Scottish, the immediate classification of that is you're a drinker.
Yep.
And you're prideful.
And then that's stereotyping based on that classification.
Exactly. Hold on, gentlemen. Let me pull some more people in. I want to pull some more. Mary, are you black or African American? Mary?
I'm here.
Okay. Are you black or African American?
On the strength of my job, I am a sailor.
Okay.
And that is all I have to say about that.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. See, she's
And that's
safe.
true. And that's true.
That's the military thing. That's the military thing. Yeah, exactly. Toya with a T. I've been waiting on you, sister. I've been waiting. I held you back for a minute because I ain't know where you was gonna go with this. But I'm ready. I'm ready for you now, Toya. Are you black or are you African American? Talk to me.
Well, I'm all of the above according to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because you ain't got no piece of paper to say that don't mean that's not what I am. They lie. They lie. They destroy stuff to try to make you who you are. So that's why I know first and foremost I'm a child of God.
Come on.
According to the qualifications that American has, I represent all of that. I'm the brown girl. I represent all of that. Anything you can call us what you want to. The people that been disenfranchised, connect me with them. The ones that y'all slaved out, manipulated and did wrong, that's who I represent. So whoever you want to call me, you can call me that and call me coming for you when I get this law degree too.
There you go.
See the same game that they want to play? I'm going to play that same game with them. I know who I am in God. I know that I'm a woman. That's a classification, right? They're all vegetables, but you still got to know a tomato from a potato.
Tell them, Toya. Tell them.
You want to do.
Exactly.
Whatever class. And this is what you got to focus on, right? Who is mighty and great enough to put out a diversion like that, African American? Who is the government? So this is why we got to pay attention to how they're doing it and let us right to study us. But at the end of the day, we're all still human. And I'm cool with you classifying me as a black African American female. And for the white supremacists, since that's how y'all talk, you can call me a nigger girl. I'm cool with that. Promise me if you run up on me. Or when I get this law degree, however they go, I'm coming for it.
There you
Call
go.
me that.
See?
Call me the Terminator. Call me the Black Terminator. Call me the Black
I love that. I'm gonna get a tattoo, I think. I don't know.
Lord Jesus. See that? See, I knew. I see, look here. I'm gonna keep toward the end of this question right here. I say, I hope she be patient with me. I'm gonna keep her toward the end because when I come to her, she gonna bring it. She gonna bring it. Hey, you did not disappoint me, sis. You definitely did not disappoint me. Friday, what are you? Are you black or African American?
I'm African American. And I'm going to market it as such in a way to show not the negative that you want others to focus on, but everything positive that we contributed and therefore who made me who I am. So I have no problem saying that I'm African American. I have a problem with how it's marketed, and I don't even have a problem with classifications in terms of, it was mentioned about applications and things like that. You know, there was specifications that were required. You know, there was instructions by God given for whom they should and should not mingle with. Although it was talking about tribes, that tribe was known by a name, so that they had certain identifications about that for a reason. So from that standpoint, I understand that labels and separations are needed for a reason so we can identify them, right? But as far as, I'm not going to embody the negative because that's what you want to imply that it's negative. It doesn't have to be. And the last time I checked and did in my African history studies, we contributed a lot of things that were positive, so much so that you wanted it, that you took it and you tried to make it look good for yourself. So I have a lot to be proud about, to be saying that it's African American. And then on the other hand of that too, also I feel as though by the very nature of the term, it acknowledges the fact of the very principle of the argument that you can't say that racism doesn't exist, that there was no ever a theme of separation, because what side of the marketing are you standing on when you utilize the term African American? So I pose this question actually in reverse to others. What do they feel more comfortable saying? Because we like to hide. And so, you know, black is a color, darkness, and all this stuff, and da 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 da. It's a color, a shade, and things that they want to market a certain way. But black is beautiful. It's a beautiful color, and anything can go with it. However, because of how I arrived here through lineages, I have no problem with African American.
Oh, good deal. Now, Leonard, I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question. Can you imagine being a 6, 7, 8 years old, coming home from school, and Friday's there, son? I got a phone call say that you didn't turn in your homework today. Now I posed the question: did you turn in your homework? It's like, look, Leonard, you said something earlier about how her tone.
Yeah, my mother talks with that steady talk. Matter of fact, that's why my therapist speaks like that. Very calm, even, like that.
But watch this, VP, you there?
Yes, sir.
Now, how do your arguments go, brother? I ain't trying to get in your personal business and all that stuff. How do you win, brother?
How do I win?
Yeah, do you ever win? She's shaking her head no, brother. I'm just for the record, she's shaking her head no, just so you know. I don't know if you're looking at the screen, but she's shaking her head no. Anyway, don't answer that, brother. Don't answer that. Rico, what's on your heart? Don't even answer that.
Friday, man, I told you once before, man, I got a feeling I got some blood relations with Friday, man. She remind me of so many of my family members. And I ain't gonna say she could kill you with kindness, man, but you can tell she got such an open mind that she can see more than one side of things and can express that, very thoroughly. I mean, I like to listen to her talk, man. Like I said, I got a cousin that reminds me of her. They even favor a lot. I'm gonna have to get with her one day to see who her relatives are, because I got relatives from that part of Georgia she's from. But when it comes to that,
I'm from Dothan, by the way, Circle City, Lee bloodline, somewhere. I'm sure of it.
Say it again, Friday.
I said I was born and raised in Dothan, so I'm sure it's bloodline somewhere around there in LA, Lower Alabama.
Probably so. But when it comes to that argument about African Americans, she hit it on the head, and Leonard hit it on the head too. What was the purpose behind it? The system of classification was very necessary. Now, the problem with the system of classification is that somebody took it to use it and say that they were dominant or superior to people. And that's where white supremacy came into play. So now when you start talking about, building this system and making it more elaborate, I can understand the African American terminology, because we are descendants of African slaves. If it's proven we are descendants of African slaves, then I can get the African American label. So by them distinguishing us as the Black Americans that are descendants of African slaves, does that mean that that's going to help us or give us some type of benefit, or is it just another way to segregate or classify us from the rest of the Black people that may be from Africa or Brazil or whatever, the other Afrocentric people? I mean, how are they going to use it? We might use it and take it as a term of endearment and say, okay, well, this is how we classify ourselves, because we are from the descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
We are the descendants of slaves. But are they actually going to use it for that, to recognize it in a good way or a bad way? Are they going to use it to make sure they keep us in a certain area or handle us a certain way, the way they did those slaves that they didn't respect or look at as human or equal? Or are they going to say, well, you know what? Well, being that y'all are the descendants of these people that were so abused and mistreated, we owe y'all. Everybody else is Black, ain't going to get this, but we owe y'all reparations, and we going to get y'all these benefits and this free college education and everything that we need to do to now to sort of I ain't going to even say justify, but bring justice. Yeah, I'm going to say bring justice to what was done in the past. are they going to use it for that specifically, or are they just going to use it to continually try to treat us the way they have historically treated slaves and the descendants of slaves?
That's good. That's good. Curtis, you there? Curtis? Okay. Curtis may be away from his phone for a second. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Here.
Okay.
I'm right here. I gotta get to the mute button.
Man, I like, man, I thought you went to sleep over there, man. I was gonna send somebody over to wake you up, man. But listen, I got a challenge for you.
Don't trip, Curtis. Hey, Curtis, don't trip, cause when he do brain cramp, he give you 5 seconds, but that lasts 1 second. Papa, did you one?
I'm waiting on somebody to win some money on brain cramp. That's what I'm waiting on. But Curtis, I got a challenge for you, brother. Within 3 minutes, keep it within your 3 minutes parameter. I need you to give us a history of this African American black whole debate right now.
You need me to give you what?
Paint a picture, the history of black and African American, and how it all came to play, the divide, if you will.
Wow, you want me to do that in 3 minutes? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first off, the label was placed there, like Leonard said, it's placed there as a measure to divide and or create a I don't know how to say it, man. Less than type of atmosphere. The African American came, if I'm not mistaken, it came from the civil rights fight. You had folks who did not want to be called black because they were not black according to the color scheme. And they did not want to be called the N-word. So they settled on the terminology, but I can't really give you like history on that. I mean, I'd have to dig deeper, and I can't give it to you in 3 minutes.
Okay, good deal. Cassandra, you there? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can give you in 3 minutes because I probably got 30 seconds left. What I can give you is that even their own said that the problem that this country would face presently and down the road is its ability to be racist. And that came from the Kerner Commission. That came from a white governor and a predominantly all white panel of lawmakers headed by the governor of Illinois by the name of Kerner. The Kerner Commission said that the biggest problem that America will face is racism.
Absolutely. Good deal. Cassandra, you there?
Yes, I am.
What's on your heart right now, sis? Tucson, coming to you next.
I don't know. I'm so over the colorization of America till I'm gonna go back to what I said originally. I don't care what you call me, Black, African American. I just want equality. I want to be treated fairly. That's it. I don't care. Whatever name you go under is fine with me. Those are my things that I'm asking for from this country. Just to be just and fair.
Do you think that would ever happen?
That's it. No.
Wow.
No, it'll never happen in this country. Not totally. You have people that are coming around, but you will never have a colorblind America. I don't care what you do.
Wow. Tucson, are you Black or African American?
You hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Because maybe my phone was having some problems.
Okay.
When I look in the mirror, I see a black man. That's what I do. Now, what you call me, or somebody else call me today, they used to call you Negro, or the other Negro word, and then they call you African American. I don't know who thought that up. I don't know. It's amazing how there's not is that Chinese American or Asian? Yeah, we try to create stuff. I don't know. But I'm black. I'm a black man. Ask them. Ask whoever you want to. They will identify me as that. Now, the rest of it, it don't matter. Don't you call me no number. You know how we talk to each other and we say, well, no, I ain't your Google.
Exactly.
We try to not pronounce it. Because, that's an offense to me.
Yeah.
I know some people say, man, that's just a word. Well, check it out and see if it's just a word. When somebody else call you that, you got attitude. But
exactly.
Just like you, which is another black man and woman, call you that. You've got I mean, you choose, you pick and choose. So I just choose to be black.
Okay, good deal.
That makes it simple.
Make it simple and plain. Absolutely. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Man, I got a question for all of y'all.
Okay.
If the terminology for me is American, why isn't it for y'all? Just that plain and simple. Everyone here is a human being. The only difference is heritage.
The only reason why we do it is because white folks make the difference, Badger. It wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't even be an issue. It wouldn't be even an issue at all, because when you live other places, you're called an American.
Right.
When I lived in Germany, I was referred to as an American soldier, as a matter of fact. If I went to Italy, I was American soldier. So they address you American, but when we're here, because we assume that the majority of people around us are Americans, we don't have to use that term. The only people insisting on this are those people with an agenda.
So, question: what would I be called?
You're an American. You
American
pass,
soldier.
because you passing for white.
Yeah, I wish.
But you could pass for white. That's assimilation. Your skin allows you to claim whatever you want to claim. That's the whole theory behind this race thing and this social construct. Race itself is just about, in America, is a lot about your white skin. It's ignorant, it's simple, and it does not clearly describe who you are. It just identifies you.
Well, that sounds
so I can put the blacks to the left and the whites to the right.
Well, that's the issue. I don't fit in either one once they talk to me.
Well, not for your purposes, but for their purposes, you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Race is a very one-sided situation in America.
By the way, chat, this is just me and Leonard playing back and forth using words.
Gotcha. So, let me go to Toya with a T. What's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because no matter where we go in the world, they know we're an American, right? Yeah. And I know as bad as we don't want to classify each other, it just is what it is. But like, you can't raise a boy to not understand that he's a boy, and they be like, "Well, I don't want to classify you." That's why we got transgenders now, because we don't want to call a spade a spade. It is what it is, and I'm okay with being called Black or African American because I'm not white. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not Indian. I'm not. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm cool with being called that, right? And because of the past that my people come from, I'm even prouder to represent that. Yes. You understand what I'm saying? But we have to really be honest here, man. Like, we really got to be honest and just call it what it is. But we got to be real about it if we're ever going to get to the situation or the end of the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like addiction. You can play around all you want to and not acknowledge that you are addicted to race. Addicted to race issues. Race is only going to fit you as long as you're not being treated like a black man. You can talk about race all you want to, but as soon as you got to withheld or undergo some of the things that black people have to go through, I promise you, you're not going to claim it.
Exactly.
Let's just be real and acknowledge everybody for who they are on an even level. Who cares if that's who you identify with? Fine. I know black people that don't identify themselves as black. They go through this whole theory. Oh, well, black is a color, or this, that, third, that. No, I'm talking about for real today in America. How do they classify you? We can play this word game all we want to, but the reality where we are, when we sign our checks, when we get our loans, when we get our jobs, when we go to school, when money follows our social security number, we are classified as different races and groups of people. And there are stigmas that come along with it. And the only way we're going to change it is if we acknowledge it and try to just respect each other's gangster and move forward and accept us for who we are. And it is what it is. So no, just because they give you a piece of paper that says you're white doesn't mean you're white if you know where you come from. If you know who you really are. Stop looking for someone else to tell you who you are. Stop looking for the government to, oh, you got to give me a right to call black because they made a mistake on my birth certificate years ago. When we know all of that was a plan that's now unraveling, man. I am who I am through God, and not because nobody else in this world.
Exactly. Mary, are you there? Mary? We may have lost Mary there. We may have lost her. VP, talk to me, brother. VP, you
so close to 10. Man, it's so close to 10. I'm just going to say amen off the Toya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Friday?
Yes, sir.
What's on your heart right now?
Well, I was having a sidebar conversation a minute ago with VP, and I was asking, to your question, like that you had asked Tucson, where did it all begin? And I was like, well, rhetorically asking him, I'm like, well, why did certain groups from the England leave to venture out? And he was like, well, they were suppressed. They didn't have the voice of their religion that they wanted, and they didn't like the taxation. And so then they came in a negotiation to find more land, but really just to do it so that they can have freedom of religion and to get away from taxation and not be suppressed. So as far as they tried to run away from something they never dealt with. And so we're dealing with that even now today, so much so that it's probably more reflective of things in England than they are as an original thought and concept here in America. And unfortunately,
okay, we losing Friday. She may be a little ways away from her signal. I think her phone
kept the slave trade going at that time. Decided to people.
Friday, we have some issues with your line, sis. We have some issues with your line. You scrambled all kind of stuff going on with you, like you in the Matrix or something there for a second there.
Oh no.
Yeah, you was in the Matrix.
That's a good point too. But all in all, my summary of point is that a group of people left a place because they didn't like how they were being treated, to come to a place to go people up out of their beds to treat them the way that they didn't like it.
Good deal. Later, closing out with you, brother. What's on your heart?
Man, it was a good show. I hope people understood, got an understanding of some things, and that whatever you did not understand, please go study.
Yes.
Just to help people. This whole notion of blackness became an issue with a person who was exploring. And their simple classification of what they saw when they were exploring and the way they did that. And once they lumped all these people together, they started attributing negative words to them as rough and things of that nature. So with that simple thing, that's when it became popular This is what led to the justification of enslaving Africans.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of what a explorer, how he categorized them. And that's why we see that same strategy being used today, is trying to dehumanize an individual to justify how you treat them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And this is how this became an issue. Then it became double down on it when America as well codified being black as being less than.
Mm-hmm.
And wrote it into law this way and indoctrinated their people this way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, we're about to get out of here for today. I got to take a moment right now, right before we get out of here, and say happy birthday, love you with everything that's in me. To my mom, today's her birthday, so happy birthday, mom, love you. I hope you got the gift I sent you. Hopefully it should come today. Well, it may have came yesterday, but you ain't called me, so I guess it didn't come yesterday. But I hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Love you dearly with everything that's in me. Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today?
Let me get my little 2 cents in before you go.
Okay.
Everything Leonard said was so true.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to understand that this thing we're going through now, this is all about being politically correct. We've been reclassified so many times. First we were Negroid, then we were Negroes, colored, black, now African American. 60 years ago, this same conversation was had. Are you colored or black?
Yeah.
And 60 years later, we having the same conversation. And 400 years later, we still don't know what we are. We determine and they're still trying to put a label because we don't know if we Igbo, Igbo, Swahili. We don't know what we are. Congolese. We don't know what we are. We still trying to figure it out. Ain't America great? That's the system they designed. And we just bit into it because right now we're discussing how we're going to fit into their system. Oh, what you going to be? You're going to be African-American, you're going to be black. Same conversation they had 60, 70 years ago. And really, truly, we neither one of them.
Exactly.
Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
If you missed today's show, would like to catch it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Captain Leonard, will you pray us out, sir?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you once again for another opportunity to talk to individuals about how we live our life as believers. We hope we have touched someone's heart for the good. These are the blessings we ask in Christ's name.
Amen. Amen. Again, happy birthday, Mom. Love you. It is now 10:04. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your day. It is 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you for the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. Love ya.